So the other day I was rummaging through my DVD collection looking for something to watch, and in the dusty corners of my collection I came across this long forgotten gem. So I figured, let's talk about it. This is my review of Cradle of Fear. Cradle of Fear is a B-grade horror film that stems all the way back to 2001. So the film is broken into 3 different stories, and the only thing that links the segments together is a nefarious character, simply known as the Man, played by Danny Filth. Then of course there is a final segment at the end, which ties everything together, and this shows that these aren't just some random stories slapped together. Now this is a movie predominantly for Cradle of Filth fans. I myself am a fan, but I will try and be as unbiased as possible. So that being said, here's some issues with the film. The cinematography is terrible. I'm not talking about laughably bad, I'm talking about shamefully awful. The opening scene has Danny Filth's character walking down this alleyway, and he's attacked by 2 muggers. Now because he's some demonic entity, no issue for him. He turns against them, he kills them. The first kill looks quite decent. The second guy he kills rips his head open, throws his head to the floor, and stomps on it. It is the most obvious rubber head I have ever seen. Now I'm not talking about, hey, is that a rubber head they used? No, it's more of a case of, my god, that's clear as day a rubber head. Then of course there is some silly dialogue thrown in throughout the movie. That being said, the filmmakers did have a very small budget to work with, so certain things can be forgiven, such as the rubber head. I'm pretty sure that most of the budget went into the gore, the blood, and the dismembered limbs, and there is plenty of that. Now I know in a way it seems like I'm bashing the movie, but I'm not. As I mentioned, there is plenty of gore, and it's fantastic. This is a really bloody movie. Now, as I said earlier, there is some silly dialogue, but this is a B-grade movie, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. The filmmakers had fun making this movie, and it shows through. In fact, I had fun watching this film, back then when I first got it, and even today when I watched it again in preparation for this review. I thought the stories were very well written. There was one that involved 2 girls breaking into an old guy's house and stealing his money. To me, that was probably the weakest of the stories, but the rest were classic horrors. From a baby demon ripping its way out of a woman's stomach, to a guy with a possessed leg, to a snuff addict looking for the ultimate snuff film. It's just brilliant horror fun, with limbs flying everywhere. But at the end of the day, the core audience is Cradle fans. Now I said I would do my best not to be biased, but this movie was made for me and other fans. And yes, I'm sure other non-fans will also be into this film. In fact, as a treat, the rest of the band members appear as cameos in the movie. Well, band members from the Midian era. I must say though, I don't think your casual horror movie fans are going to appreciate this. So that in mind, Cradle of Fear gets an amphetamine 6 out of 10. My name is David Braz, and thanks ever so much for watching. Guys, if you like this video and want to see more, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. See you next time. Obviously the garden service had to come now while I'm busy with the video. To the current band members of this version of Cradle of Filth, please stay together. This is the best sounding album next to Midian.